season.
Well, I think that we're getting better at some of the things that we weren't very good at last year, and we have a lot of kids back from last year's football team that we weren't as good last year as what we wanted to be, but a lot of those kids that had integral roles are back playing on Friday nights, this year, and so we hope that some of the things that the growing pains we might have had with a young team last year, we've worked through some of those things, and hopefully we continue to have some leaders emerge here in the summer. And, so far it's been a pretty good summer and pretty good preseason, but we've got a long way to go.
When you take a look at this defense, if I recall from reading, you guys have like 8 starters back on defense. How does that help you guys kind of pick up where you left off, and not only that, but add to it with that many returnees?
Well, I think the key to our defense is that we want to play fast, and if we're confident, if kids are confident in what their assignment is, if they feel like they know what their role is, they know their job, it allows them to play faster. It takes away that hesitancy of uncertainty and insecurity. I don't know what I'm doing. So, presumably when you have that many kids that have played on Fridays before and you're not changing a lot defensively, presumably that would make them more confident, less hesitant, and therefore able to play faster, which is a positive thing. But ultimately it doesn't really matter until we do it on a Friday, and so far we feel like we're getting there, but we got to see what happens when the marbles drop. So
tell me about the offensive side of the football. It sounds like you guys have to replace a number of starters up front. I think Hunter might be the only returning offensive lineman that's
there are some guys up front that currently that played some last year, but yeah, Hunter was a starter at guard last year, and some of the other guys rotated in. So definitely some question marks on the offensive line, and luckily those guys have some experience on Fridays. It's not like a new crop of guys that was only playing JV. A lot of them were splitting time or rotating in at various positions. But, we have a lot of our skilled players back on the offensive side of the ball and becoming more comfortable with the offense. But ultimately it doesn't really matter how good the quarterback plays or how good the fullback plays if the offensive line isn't clicking, isn't communicating, and isn't doing their job. So, they never get credit, but they're always the first one to get blamed when something doesn't go well, and to be honest with you, that's just the nature of the beast. If the offensive line is not playing well, it doesn't really matter what we do on offense. It's not going to work very well. So we're continuing to get those guys developed and rotating guys and trying to find guys to fill positions and step up and fill those roles. And honestly, we got a great group of kids, and it may be a week-to-week thing in some of those offensive line positions, but we feel like we got the guys that we can insert and get the job done.
Last year was kind of a weird year. You guys only ended up playing, I believe it was 8 games last season. So, but aside from that, what do you think this group of guys learned from last year that they can apply this season that's going to make them better as a unit?
I hope that they understand that, it's kind of a thing you preach every year, like, you never know when football can be taken away from you. And I know that sounds maybe a little dramatic to non-football people, but, it was a pretty fragile season going into it. And then obviously with the risk of people getting, we had a senior who didn't get to play his final game because he was contact trace or whatever, and now all of a sudden that kid who didn't do anything wrong, who actually did everything he was supposed to do, got sent home from his internship or whatever and couldn't play football. And I hope that message was sent to our kids that you better take advantage of every opportunity you have, because there are people that by no fault of their own lose out on opportunities, lose out on important moments, and football's no exception because of the world we live in right now. So I hope that it makes it a little more precious in their eyes and makes it something that they value every opportunity they have.
The final question for me, if there's one X factor or one element that this season could hinge upon for Churubuso, what do you think that it is?
Well, I think that ultimately one of the things that has been a major cause for concern is leadership. We talk about it every year, and I know every coach and every program around the country is worried about leadership or is concerned. Well, the problem is one of the things that concerns me is when things don't go well in a game, how do you respond? And ultimately, I don't think that the last couple years we've responded in a way that was indicative of a team that's ready to stand toe-to-toe in battle with someone. We have this in our heads sometimes that everything should be easy, and I think it's culturally. I think that's the way we are sometimes, and maybe it's just the world we live in now, but like things are often difficult, and just because they start off difficult or they start off in a way that pisses us off or not the way we dreamed it up, that doesn't mean we should white flag it. And so I'm waiting to see if we have kids that respond to those things and, hey, we're still in the football game. In fact, I want kids to relish that battle like, oh, well, we're in a game now. We got a fight on our hands. And hopefully we see that happen with some of our leaders, and hopefully it spills over into some of our other kids and, makes them a little more battle tested.
I like how that we're a family and that we all stick together when it gets tough.
When you talk about this defense, what stands out to you, and who are some of the guys that you've seen that are going to be stepping up into bigger roles defensively for this team in 2021?
I like that I like that we all stay together. Even when practice gets hard, we keep together, and then the people that step up the most are probably our freshman and sophomore class, like all as a whole. Everybody's got to play a role. It doesn't matter what grade you're in or how many reps you got last year. We all just got to step up, and everybody's trying to do that.
When you take a look at the experience, you guys have 8 starters back on the defensive side of the ball. How does that help you guys, and what did you learn from last year that's going to allow you to kind of hit the ground running defensively this year?
I think that we need to switch our mentality. We're kind of, I feel like we're not doing too hot in practice, but I feel like we could do a lot better. 8 starters coming back, it's great, but at the end of the day, everybody just needs to step up. Doesn't matter who started, who didn't.
When you take a look at this team, what do you think is going to be like the biggest X factor or the biggest key for you guys having the success that you want to have on Friday night?
We need to play with a high mentality of just getting after it all the time, and we need to just focus on the little things. And just, if we focus on the little things and do everything right, I don't know if we'll lose a game like that.
Love it. All right. Appreciate it, my man. What is it about this team that you really like heading into a new year?
I mean, what I like about this team is that we're pretty close together. We don't have really a separate group. We're all together, which is pretty good because when you're out in the field, it's way easier to communicate with each other.
Tell me about this offense. You have to break in some new offensive linemen this year. You're kind of the leader of that offensive line, and kind of how Busco's O-line goes, Busco goes offensively. So what's the key to getting the offensive line to the level that you want to see on Friday night?
Well, we lost some offensive line, but the people before, like all the guys that are back or that are starting now, they still got reps last year. I think what we need to do is we need to play together. We need to play way harder, play lower, block harder.
What do you think as an offense you guys took away from last season that you learned that you can use this time around to be more effective?
We just need to play faster. We need to block better, to be honest. Just a lot. Yeah.
So what do you like about this team as we enter a new season that has you guys thinking, hey man, this could be a really special season here at Churubuso?
Everyone here works hard. They know that if they're not working hard, they're going to get yelled at. So they just keep pushing to get better and better so we can be successful.
What did you guys learn from last year? I mean, it was kind of a difficult year. You had COVID. You guys only ended up playing 8 games because of cancellations. Like, what's your big takeaway that you guys learned from last year that you can apply this season to make it even better?
We got to play as hard as we can in each game because we don't know when our next one will be. So we got to leave it all out on the field every game.
Last season you were kind of breaking in a lot of guys on the offensive side of the football, skill positions, Riley as the quarterback. Now that there's that level of experience, do you see this offense taking a big step up from last year? And if so, how is that going to play itself out on Fridays?
I think we'll have a big step up because we all know the plays better, and the younger guys will step up and be able to go in when people are gassed, and we'll just be able to keep pushing and pushing every play.
Who are some of the guys, especially some of the younger guys, that are going to be stepping up to bigger roles for this team offensively?
Cam Rinker, he played last year, but he'll step up a lot because he did track last year for the first time, and he's got way faster and way stronger.
In your eyes, what's the biggest key to Churubuso having a successful season that you want to have?
We got to keep working hard, keep learning our plays, keep doing them as the best that we can, and see if it works out on the field.